Hey everybody, and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program, Season 2, Episode 4, The Flight of the Minok. Now, if you watched either of the last two videos, you will remember that this little craft was launched in the hump of a space plane that barely made it back. I did use some tweak scale in throwing this together, and now we're making our transfer to Minmus, first using these tiny tanks that were bolted on with the help of tweak scale. They're just those 90 tanks that are scaled down a little bit because you can mount them radially, and there they go. So now we're on primary internal fuel. This is kind of a minimalist craft, but the whole point of going there is to collect the science. So there's our target. Doesn't take a whole lot more delta V to get to Minmus than it does to get to the moon, despite the huge disparity in distance. But when you've got an ultralight like this thing here, it doesn't really take a whole lot. So I've got those hydraulic landing legs with the little mini tanks in there. So we'll go ahead and dump that fuel in. And you'll notice that we do not have a rendezvous. So we're going to have to make some adjustments here. Yeah, adjusting like this, you want to do it as far away from your gravitational center as you can. Efficiency, I know we've discussed all of this before, but there's going to be a bit of me tweaking nodes and trying to get everything to work out for as little delta V as possible. That isn't much of a burn, but it's a little bit more than I really wanted to spend. All things considered, because we have very little disposable fuel in this craft. It is crude. I am using remote tech on this particular playthrough. I like the challenge that it adds, and gives your satellites something to do, which kicks up the realism a little bit. Got a brief glimpse of my satellite network there, but I will just go on ahead and warp out a little bit. We want to keep close tabs on our comm dish here, because the whole point of this is to keep Jeb in contact with mission control so that he can radio back all the cool science he gets. And yeah, alright, we're still connected, still linked up, but there will be a small period of blackout every now and again as the satellite that has the range to keep him in contact orbits around. I have been having some issues with satellites that obviously do have the range suddenly losing contact, and not because they're out of power. I tried that one too, so don't think that I'm that gullible. Alright, time to make our burn. Almost time to make our burn. Alright. For real? Not yet. This is the part of this game that always stresses me out, is the, am I going to miss my burn window? Am I not going to miss my burn window? Almost going to miss my burn window. Alright, let's get those panels in the light. Am I going to miss my burn window? I'm not going to miss my burn window. Whoop. Bing. Alright. Yeah. Whoop. That's more what we're looking for. Alright, good job, Jeb. And we're still good on fuel. That's always nice to see. And now, complete blackout. There's no satellite that has the range currently. Or really, there's no transmitter on this craft that has the range to talk to anything there. Alright. Back in radio contacts. Even if this were an unmanned drone, we would still be able to make this. I've got 2 satellites in orbit of Minmus. I don't have anything directed at them at the moment, but now that Jeb is here and they will provide a near uninterrupted view, it will be something that I will have to relay around. But let's go ahead and start setting up for our orbital insertion approach here. We don't want to slam into Minimus, but we want to be close, more efficient again. The lower you come in, the less delta V you'll have to spend in hitting orbit. So You almost want to, oh, barn dust? Is that the phrase I'm looking for? Barnstorm, maybe. Something like that, maybe. Alright. Now, we've only got one science loadout on this craft, so we're going to save it for on the surface. Actually, the mission that got those 2 satellites into orbit was all remote. It was an uncrewed mission, but it had a return capsule on it that did high and low orbital science for Minimus. So we don't need to collect any of that, but we do need to get some surface stuff going. And we'll go ahead and transmit some data back while we've got a clear signal. You know, might as well. Alright, Jeb, don't miss your burn window. Oh man. Fuel margins are going to run very tight on this. Yeah, that looks pretty good, doesn't it? I'm happy with that. Alright. And the all-important EVA science. Yeah, we'll hold on to that for a little bit, maybe. Yeah, nothing new there. Yeah, I'll transmit that one home. Alright. So, we're going to do a little bit of biome hopping here now that we're in low enough orbit, which makes for nice, free, cheap, easy science. Go Jeb. And continuing right along, we're just going to make sure that Jeb stays in contact here. This is why we got him into this nice semi-polar orbit, was in hopes that for the duration of his mission here, he would be able to maintain contact with mission control and radio back as many of these EVA reports as possible. And go ahead and send that one home and keep him trucking right along to the next biome here. Yep, save that one and send it home. Alright. Alright, back in contact now. This is where I had intended on ending this episode, but instead we're just going to go ahead and press on forward to the landing. Sorry about the very awkward video cut there, but yeah, hey, it happens, and I'm not perfect, nor am I studio quality. So, you know, cheap and easy. That's how we roll. So we're going to start setting up for our landing approach now, in hopes that we get someplace nice and flat. This is quite a tall, skinny lander that only really has landing support on its sides. We don't even have like a tripod. We've got to two-prong it. So our landing approach needs to be clear and flat and straight and easy. So this is probably going to be one of the more hair-raising landings that I've ever bothered to attempt in this game. This is honestly the first crewed landing craft that I have launched out of the back of a space plane that went to someplace other than Kerbal. Alright, that's our undercarriage, courtesy of Infernal Robotics and Tweak Scale. That's some cool stuff, man. Alright. I was having some problems with the since it doesn't give you that little pop-up menu anymore, you have to do it all through action groups. And really, unless you key it exactly off, it'll keep making that whirring hum sound, which is really annoying. And I kind of miss the user interface. If maybe I'm missing something, or if I didn't bring it up properly through toolbar. However it works now, I'm not really sure. But we're going to try to use the engine bell as our third landing leg, I suppose. And I've just realized that the rotation of the planet is probably going to mess this up a little bit. Yeah, coming in a little too close to that hill. Okay. Alright, Jeb. Let's get it in nice and flat and start to arrest this motion here. Now, please be careful with your fuel. We do not have a whole lot to deal with. And can you find my obvious mistake? It took me a while to notice it, because man, that planet is rotating pretty quickly underneath me, or I'm not facing the right direction. 5 points to the first person who tells me why. I'm absolutely flabbergasted that it took me this long to figure out exactly what was going on here and why my direction was so incredibly off. Yep, there it was. I had the nav ball in orbit and not surface mode, which entirely threw off my approach and had me use way more fuel than I had anticipated. It's alright. Nice and easy, Jeb. Just bring it in for a nice, quiet touchdown. We all know the fun part about hydraulics. Bounce. 2 bounce. 3 bounce. 4 bounce. Landing. Oh, thank goodness for SAS. And it's staying put. We are on the ground, but we are not in contact with mission control. And that was kind of a problem. I was hoping to be able to radio a bunch of this home, but whichever. We'll collect a bunch of our sciencey things. Now, if you notice, the heat shield on this craft is up by the command pod. So if we want to bring any of these neat experiments home, we're going to have to collect them first. So sorry about that awkward cut. I had a unforeseen crash and had to come back and redo some of this. Really all the footage you're seeing now. So we need to extract our valuable science data, and we will collect a surface sample and plant a flag. But that's it for today, folks. Thanks for joining us. I'm the Cosmonaut.